carbon wrap. And this here is something we're very excited about. And this little number is called carbon wrap technology. Carbon wrap technology was originally developed in the last 5 years or so by our partner in Australia, Dan McDonald. He's a surfer, shaper, construction designer. We first got involved 2 years ago when we started working with Dan to help us build our program and all of our surfboards down in Australia. I really became interested and enamored with the way these boards look and ride, and over the last 18 months we've worked with material vendors, pro surfers, myself, and all sorts of other people to help us fine-tune and bring this unique and an awesome construction to the marketplace. The whole point and vision behind it is a strong, light, flexible, high-performance surfboard to help make surfing easier and more fun, and essentially take modern high-performance constructions to the next level. The starting point with carbon wrap technology is the board is shaped out of a stringerless EPS plank. The most striking feature to carbon wrap are the two bands of carbon which start out close together on the nose and slowly expand and spread apart as they gather towards the tail. At the tail, they wrap just in front of the fins, around the front fins, and up onto the deck. Essentially, that is carbon wrap. And what that does is it creates an engineered flex where it's stiffer in the nose area, and slowly as they get wider and splay apart, you become more and more flexible, creating almost like a hinge point right in front of and around the fins. This hinge point creates the unique electric and lightning fast reflex under your back foot that gives the incredible bursts of speed and drive and makes this such a fun board to ride. At the same time, as the tail patch, it reinforces and adds structure to the tail so to keep your toes and your heels from caving it in like most boards you see nowadays with a carbon tail patch. The bottom is then laminated like a normal surfboard with high quality S-glass on the bottom. And on the deck, we used a combination of a whole nother carbon fiber. It's our exclusive web-fused carbon, which goes down the center of the board, primarily focused under the weight of the surfer's body. Okay? That's put on the board, and then combined, the whole entire deck is wrapped with a 45-degree X-glass. The X-glass covers the entire deck, and what it does many things. One of the most important is it alleviates areas where there's a stress crack. It makes the possibility of buckles, fractures, and breaks a lot lower. It also spreads out your foot pressure. So if your foot is here and you're pushing on the board or here, normal glass runs lengthwise nose to tail or at a 90-degree angle rail to rail. And the foot pressure is only going out on these pieces of glass to the rail. But with the X-glass, you have glass going out like this, and your foot is actually connecting to a much larger area of the rail, effectively and in theory giving you more control from rail to rail. Your foot is actually radiating out control from all the X-glass. Visually, you get this really cool, stunning look of the web-fused carbon on the deck, which serves many purposes. One, it absorbs the weight and the pressure of the body of the surfer, but it also, in most modern surfboards, one of the things we really have grown accustomed to and we like as surfers is the way that our decks can dent in under our body weight, under our foot pressure. And you get that nice worn in, comfortable feeling. You get that damp feeling that feels good under your feet. Like wearing a nice pair of shoes, like a pair of Nikes or something, and walking and running. So these boards are designed so the decks should dent in, and the carbon down the center keeps the board from caving rail to rail under your foot, like some other stringerless epoxy boards that don't have any structure. This thing naturally, over the time of multiple sessions, will create an arch that matches your foot. So the deck will dent here in here and remain a little bit of an arch that feels like comfortable and at home, like a good old worn-in pair of boots or shoes. And it stops the board from caving rail to rail, which also makes the board break down faster and will lead to an earlier breakage or buckle or creases. We didn't want to create any strong or immediate shear points in the board, so we ran the carbon out really long and smoothly into a point here and here, so there's no actual focus point where the board might stop and break. It kind of just brings the flex down and the resistance over a natural course. And that's why you see that long, beautiful, pointed cut in the carbon fiber. And you will see it slowly overlaps here. So the bottom wrap here and the carbon fiber here, they kind of overlap, so you don't see a breaking point between the two. And essentially, that's the kind of detail and construction story behind the carbon wrap. The performance story is, the most surfing is going on in subpar and below average waves. And for years, everyone's been looking for an easier board to ride in sloppy, shitty waves. Usually easier means lighter, and it also means kind of faster and quicker under your feet. And the carbon fiber, the way it's arranged on this board, the way it's engineered, the way it's structured, is to create a really quick and a really lively flex. Carbon wrap is the one that we work the closest with our professional athletes on. And more of our athletes, especially on the QS level, where they're riding subpar waves, sloppy waves, smaller waves, unpredictable waves, more and more of them are including the carbon wrap in their quivers and using them as a competitive advantage in small, sloppy, gutless surf, because the boards are light and they're electric. They load up and respond and flex and shoot out of turns, and you can drive really well because they have a certain amount of rigidity under the front foot, because as the carbon are more parallel in this area and they're closer together, it has a more rigid feel, especially when you combine it with the carbon on the top. So when you push on the front foot, the board is not giving, it's not flexing much. But then with the wrap and the hinge it creates, you get off your back foot a bit of a flex, engineered specifically right in front of your feet, right in front of the fins, where you get almost like a skateboard feel, where you can kick it and turn it and bend it into the wave, and then because the carbon has such a fast reflex memory, it straightens back out and shoots you in and out of turns. And personally, I think that of all the different techs on the market and all the uses of carbon fiber and fancy materials and constructions, carbon wrap makes it really easy and obvious. It's the easiest to see and understand exactly what we're trying to create and control and show with this construction. It's just visually stunning, and it's really easy to see and understand where the board flexes and why. And that's carbon wrap construction.